and then you reach the peak of the graph, you now start sinking, start feeling like, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not sufficient. And this is the point where a lot of people give up, and then they fail to like settle into themselves. Hello, my name is Adego Peter, the creative director of Relics Core, and I'm here with
Aliu Abdurrashid, a graphic designer.
Yeah. So today we are going to be discussing inferiority complex in the tech industry and of course self-worth. So before we start, I would like to give a backstory, a personal backstory. When I was starting out, it felt like there was a lot to learn. You know, when you're a beginner, you are always overwhelmed and you feel like, when will I reach certain levels? And on a personal level, I discovered that it held me back. I always found it difficult to like sell my services because I always felt like, is this good enough? Can people actually pay for this? But one particular day, I got a rude awakening because I started out traditionally. I used to edit videos for events and parties and all of that. So I watched my dad paid for a videographer, and that videographer delivered his cassettes, the cassettes. That time it was either cassette or CD. So, but I think it was CD, not cassette. He delivered the CD, and then we were playing it, and I saw the standard of editing that was on display. And from that moment onwards, I felt like if someone can charge my father this amount of money for this shabby editing, that means I should be able to put myself out there and monetize. So it was a jolt for me. He woke me up and then pushed me to understand that you never really fully master a field, but you learn progressively. And at any point in time, you can monetize. As long as people see value in what you are doing, you can monetize. So it gave me a sense of confidence. So in today's podcast, we are just going to be elaborating more on that, Mr. Rashid.
Honestly, my own journey in tech, it has been, I don't say, let me just say, I was quite lucky when I started out because I was doing design because of my business then, and then I just got a call from one of my friends that someone is in need of the kind of service. It was not even the service I was charging for because it was more like a personal pay. I was doing it for my personal brand then. So someone was ready to pay for it, and I was using Canva back then. So I was like, someone wants to pay for this thing. So that was how I started, and it was not even perfect because I was using ready-made templates in Canva. So I was just removing, adding colors, and for me to see someone that was ready to pay for that, that was the eye-opener. Let me say the eye-opener for me. So that was the beginning, and then it was not like I learned graphic design anyway, but I think due to the fact that I was exposed to Microsoft PowerPoint at the early stage of my life, so it helped me a lot because I was able to do text as at that time. So I was doing flyers too, but it was a long time ago. But I think I was comfortable with design, so that was really what really helped me. And then someone was able to, I was like, just like that. And as at that time, I think the person was offering 60k base, and I've never met the person. There was no interview, so it shows that you don't even need to have the experience per se, but just provide value. I think that's the most important thing. So it's not about the experience. The value is quite much more important than the experience itself, because people will pay you for the value you offer rather than the skills or the mastery of the skills itself.
There's this other thing that I would like to add. There's what they call the Dunning-Kruger effect. So the Dunning-Kruger effect is more or less like a graph. When you're starting out, you have a very flat confidence level, but you are enthusiastic, like you are eager to learn. So you know that there's a lot to learn, and then you learn a little out of that particular field. And then at that point you feel like, oh, I've mastered this particular field. I'm confident. Oh, I can do a lot of things. Oh, this is magical. I have power in my hands. I am Merlin himself. And then if you continue and you continue learning, you start to encounter other people who have massive amounts of skill or just massive amounts of talent. There are some people that you might even start out together, or the years that they've spent learning that particular software might not be up to the years that you've spent. And then you start to see all of these people with massive amounts of talent, creative people, and then you reach the peak of the graph. You now start sinking, start feeling like, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not sufficient. And this is the point where a lot of people give up, and then they fail to like settle into themselves. But if you can beat that particular plateau, if you can beat that plateau and rise to the top again, you become much more confident, and you become much more comfortable in yourself, and then you attain mastery. You've chosen your own direction. I have a couple of video editor friends that I've met, not friends per se, I would say people that I look up to on social media. And their style of editing, we try to do a lot of things in our editing. We try to like master masking, 3D effects, VFX, and all of that. But all they do is just corporate editing. They add lower thirds, they add titles in a clean, simple way. And these people command thousands of dollars monthly. But they found a particular niche that they are comfortable in, and they do it so well that these companies are willing to pay them. So the bottom line is, find what you are good at, attain mastery, and while you are at it, it shouldn't stop you from selling your skill and being confident and understanding that you are in a process. And that's another thing. Learn to enjoy the process, because it's a process, and in the process of learning, before you attain mastery, there's a long process of learning. And if you do not enjoy that process, if you hate that process, you might end up giving up along the way, or you might end up hating what you eventually do. So I think that's my 2 cents on in terms of inferiority complex compared to skill level wise. Mr. Rashid?
I'll just say a word of advice for people that are just starting out. Because in most cases, how design is now, or every other thing, there is AI in the mix. So the most important thing is for you to be confident enough to put whatever it is you are doing out there. Because in the end, you still see subpar design, you still see subpar website that you feel like, this is nonsense, and people paid for this. You still see it, even in 10 years to come now, you still see those kind of design, and people are getting paid to do it. So it's more about, this is what I can do. If you post what you can do, there are people that will fall in that category, like, I can actually work with this, because people work with budgets. If you think about it, a designer that will charge you, let's say, 10K for a project now, in terms of skills, they will look for someone better that will watch that range. So for you that is just starting out, you don't have to necessarily look at the money, just be offering the value, and then you still see clients that fall within where you are at the moment, and you grow with time. So just keep doing what you are doing, be confident about your skills, and then you grow with time. It's not a day job. You keep learning, like my guy said. You keep learning, you learn, and before you know it, you might find yourself in a niche that you get comfortable in, and that will be it for you. Just do what you have to do. Keep posting, keep doing your shit. That's it.
Share this with a creative friend of yours who is probably in his 5th bout of depression this month. This might be what he needs to get out of that circle. We've all been there. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So